Hello, YouTube. It's my birthday today. Ayah! Listen, brain rot's on the mind. Okay. So, anyways, it is a bit late, but it is finally time for the next creator commentary. Floor Lava Part 2 will come out later this month. Apologies after all the stuff that kept me from recording for much of October and stuff. My wheels have been spinning a little bit, but here we are finally getting back on track. Yeah, so anyways, why is Bowser so big in Super Mario Sunshine? Super Mario Sunshine Experiments Mini. So this on the channel is relatively early on. This is one of the first video that really starts to look like something more modern on the Angry Max channel, I guess I would say. This video came from a sort of realization I made while modding. I forget what exactly I was modding. I think it was while I was making the Barrels Only Challenge run, which is funny because that's actually how the Invisible Barrel video came to be as well, which I had another creator commentary on. It's actually pretty interesting that two videos actually came from the making of this video right here. I find that quite fascinating, really. Oh my gosh, the demo disc was 3 years ago, Jesus. So yeah, this video was a bit before the YouTube voice really came around, as we'll see. There is like one part in the video where the YouTube voice kind of starts to shine through. I think this is the first video where I actually had a proper mic, which is actually technically the same mic I'm using right now. So yeah, anyways, why not get into it? But first, drink check. Water, as always, and Zevia. It's like a artificially sweet like soda drink with no food coloring in it. So this is a cola flavor. It's completely clear. I don't really know if you can see that. Let's see. There's a little bit on the lid. I don't know. You probably can't see that. So it's like completely clear, like Sprite, but it tastes like cola. It definitely is a bit of an acquired taste if you're used to a normal soda. Let's actually get into the video.
Hey, real quick before the video begins,
Let's make sure. Okay, good. 1080p.
I just want to announce that once I hit 100 subs, I plan on doing a face reveal.
So, as I always say in these videos, any normal person has already skipped. I mean, it's already like time stamped out. So any normal person has actually skipped here. Actually, let's do. This has almost 4K views. Let's actually see how true this is. Let's go to the analytics. Let's go to engagement. No, retention. Where's the retention graph? Right here. You can see, okay, where does 15 seconds? Yeah, you can see right here. It's a tiny little spike at the 15 seconds. That's all the people who skipped past the intro. And the rest of this is just like people who watched the intro of the video and just thought it was boring. So you know what? Let me do something real quick.
Oh, if you're new around here, be sure to hit that sub button, because once I do a face reveal, these videos are about to get a whole lot crazier.
Oh, I'm sure.
Anyways, back to your regularly scheduled program.
Okay, so I'm just gonna do it live right here. We're gonna skip that beginning because it doesn't serve. I mean, the face reveal obviously has already happened. So we're just gonna do it live. Just snip the first 15 seconds. Okay, yeah, that works. You get to see it live. That's how I actually trim out old intros and stuff. There's a couple more videos I need to go do this with, but yeah. There's just no reason to have that intro at all. All it does is leak retention, tell people to... So here, let me explain. I've explained this in some of the creator commentaries before, but it's basically, there's a couple things going on here. One, if you're a new viewer coming to the video, why would you care about my face reveal? A. B, why would you care about subscribing? You haven't even seen the video, so it's like asking somebody to buy a product before they even know what the product is, you know? And C, because of those two things, people will just skip right past it or just leave the video, as you actually saw in the retention data. Here, let me hit save. As you actually saw in the retention data, a lot of people just straight up left the video. 40% in the first 10 seconds, closer to 30. And I'm sure this would look a lot better without this beginning. Hey, make sure to subscribe so you can see my face. Like, who cares? Who cares? You don't know who I am if you're new. If you're returning, you also don't care because you're probably already subscribed. So it's just a waste of time for so many people. Anyways, to the introduction. Oh, and now I'm also, because of that, so this is why I don't do it as often. And actually, I can go ahead and fix this because this is a thing that happens. You see how it's like crossed out? It's because of this. That's how it looks in YouTube Studio. It doesn't show you the markdown for some reason. Okay, and now we have to minus 15 seconds from everything.
15, so that's 60 minus 12, which is 58. That's PD to a 5. We can 4, so PD goes down to
Okay, math is always hard. Also, just delete that. I don't stream on Twitch. So, if you're interested in seeing how some of the back-end maintenance stuff works, I guess you got to see that. Doing YouTube isn't all about the fun stuff. There's a lot of tedious stuff like that you have to do. Go back and fix old mistakes. Can cost you a lot of time, like I did right there. Anyways, let's actually get to the video. Old intro.
It's always been weird to me that Bowser appears as a giant in Super Mario Sunshine, unlike pretty much any other time where he appears larger than
Mario Party 5. This is just the Mario Party I grew up with, so this was on my mind for this clip. And yeah, I got it from Nintendo Movies. Did I actually link them in the description? I didn't. You know what? Let's fix that as well. We'll just put that here. Okay. My apologies, Nintendo Movies. To be fair, you also did kind of just like rip a cut from a video game, so I'm not too worried about that. But still, that's not something I should have forgotten about. But here we are.
normal. There really isn't a given explanation as to why he's so enormous. And
So yeah, by the way, this is about the same like tone and intonation I would use in the earlier Super Mario Sunshine Experiments videos. So, you know, of course, the Shine Sprites video or the early barrel videos. The only difference here, of course, is that I have a better mic.
And
Yeah.
today, while I don't have a 100% definitive answer, I'd like to offer up a theory that I've never seen before, along with some pretty solid evidence. And
So here's like, oops, sorry. I got a new chair. I explained this on stream the other day, but I got a new chair. So previously I used to have two chairs. It's like a pouch that goes over the back of my chair. Why am I explaining this? I don't need to be explaining this. I'm here to explain this video, and I'm like off explaining things about my chair. Who cares? Who cares?
also, if you maybe think theorizing
Right. So I forgot. I was about to say like a kind of like sort of cynical outlook thing, which is that, let me rewind.
today, while I don't have a 100% definitive answer,
While I don't have a 100% definitive answer, that's a line I feel like I wouldn't include in a script nowadays, pretty much because I'm thinking about the retention. Because I'm thinking, well, if in the intro in the video I'm saying I don't have a 100% definitive answer, instead of saving that for, let's say, the outro, then people who are only interested in 100% definitive answers are going to click off immediately. Thanks. Like nowadays, I wouldn't have even thought about it. Like I probably would have just said, yeah, I'm not going to include that, and probably take 5 seconds to think about it, right? And not even really think about like, well, isn't that like kind of manipulative or whatever? But I don't know. That said, I think I've gotten remarkably far on YouTube without really selling out a lot of my ideals or values. YouTube is a very tough place to be if you want to also have a strong moral compass. Sorry, that was probably a bit more real than we needed to be, but you know what? I'll keep it in.
before, along with some pretty solid evidence. And also, if you maybe think theorizing and trying to make sense out of the wacky world of Mario is pointless, have no
Turn it up.
worries, because this theory isn't about lore, but more so about observable facts and oddities left behind in the game. Now,
I feel like I didn't explain that very well, and it would have been better just to say this theory isn't about lore and just leave what that implicitly means.
before I can actually get into this theory, I have to explain everything that brought me up to this point first. And this story began as I was modding Super Mario Sunshine for an upcoming video.
Oh yeah, this bit is kind of weird right here.
So this story began as I was modding Super Mario Sunshine.
Why would I just repeat myself immediately? I don't know. I think it's because I really wanted to do like the part 1, part 2, part 3 thing. I should have found a better way for that to flow, I think.
Video. I'm of course modding the final level of the game where Bowser is in a hot tub. Anyways, that's when I noticed something rather peculiar. Now, this might not be something
Okay,
a hot
a bit of...
tub. Anyways,
Okay, well, first of all, slightly awkward, but we're gonna look at that image. Mario written on her arm. Badly, like, painted arm, by the way. You can see I painted over other names. And Luigi on the butt. Thought that'd be funny.
hot tub. Anyways, that's when I
And then here's the standing desk. Classic shitpost. I think I talked about this in a previous creator commentary. This was back when this video was still public, I think, so this joke made a bit more sense if you were in on it.
I noticed something rather peculiar. Now, this might not be something that's immediately noticeable to most people unless you've messed with bin editing Sunshine yourself, but the Mario cap, which represents where Mario spawns into the level, seems awfully big for this specific level. And if you actually click on it and take a look, you can actually see that it says that Mario's scale is set to 4 on
I feel like this like 20 or so seconds of explaining this could have been condensed into 5.
all axes. And just for reference, his scale most of the time is set to 1 for each axis.
This was one of those shots I had to get creative with, I think. As it always goes in these creator commentaries, this was an older video, which means I was editing on Adobe Premiere Rush. And the thing with Adobe Premiere Rush is that you're very limited on the amount of tracks you can edit with. So you can only have 3 separate tracks at once, or 4, I guess. There's like the main and then the 3 on top. Each of these are like images with the scale. Actually, do I still have it? My computer's freezing up. Oh, there's the, it's called Bowser Monstrosity. The Bowser Amaranth. Here it is. This is just an image on top. Not very interesting. Oh my god, I don't give a fuck about AI. Sorry. I'm just tired of opening every other app or website and just getting a giant notification. Did you know we have AI now? Like, just fuck off, please. Sorry. So yeah, it's just an image because of the limitations of the editing software I was using. Calling this mildly interesting, I think, is overstating it. So I'm probably gonna way edit down how long this took me to explain this. Very small and innocuous thing. Anyways, let's go.
Axis. That said, there are actually a few other levels where his scale is set to 4, such as most of the secret levels in Delfino Plaza.
Yeah. So nowadays,
For instance, his scale most of the time is set to 1
so you see a background
for
here?
each axis. That said, there
Nowadays, that background would have persisted here, but I literally couldn't have done that because I could at most have 4 things.
are actually a few other levels where his scale is set to 4, such as most of the secret levels in Delfino Plaza.
Also, why did I have the FPS count on? That's so annoying. Anyways,
So, you might be thinking, so what, maybe Mario is just bigger than normal when he's with Bowser in a hot tub, and you just can't tell because of perspective. Well, while it is true that setting the scale for other objects tends to actually change their size, for instance, this box on the right is set to 1.
yeah, this is obviously a re-recorded line. I kind of alluded to this early in the video. I feel like I just gave this line more effort and more energy than the rest of everything else that was recorded, and it sounds a bit closer to how I sound in the modern Angry Max era reading off a script.
Scale for other objects tends to actually change their size. For instance, this box on the right is set to 1 on all axes, while the one on the left is set to 2.
It still definitely isn't all the way there, but I just find that interesting. Like, depending on the day, would have a noticeable impact on the energy I record in a script.
But setting Mario's scale actually seems to change nothing in the game. For an example, here you see Mario in Delfino Plaza at his default scale of 1. However, once we change his scale in the bin editor, you'll notice his size in game doesn't change at all.
Yep.
So now that I've explained everything,
God, the editing is just so awkward. There's a couple of reasons why. So it's a linear animation. So if you'll notice, whenever I do like motion graphics, like pushes and stuff nowadays, it's actually not linear, which is to say it doesn't move the same amount every frame. It like eases in and out usually, if you know what that means. If you don't, it's basically like a difference between a person moving around and a robot. Like a robot has very stiff animations, whereas a person, you know, they have to speed up to move their hand and then slow it back down. It's not just like immediate with no speed variation. And that makes it feel a bit more stiff. And then no sound effects, and then no motion blur, which really the motion blur, the motion blur and the sound effects I find don't work on their own. They need to be together. It's pretty interesting, the things I just wasn't able to see back then versus now. Like my editing has gotten so much more snappy.
So now that I've explained everything, I can actually get to the point of the video. Why is Bowser
2.5 minutes in, that's not awful.
a giant in Super Mario Sunshine? I believe that it's possible that either A, this is a bug, and Mario is actually meant to be 4 times bigger.
Also,
It's
that's a
not
really
possible
cool
that
transition. You don't notice it because it's moving, but it kind of just looks like it's the same sky. It's like a really smooth transition.
Either A, this is a bug, and Mario is actually meant to be 4 times bigger in this.
Oh, fun fact. This like painted on background graphic right here, that's awfully stretched and scaled. This is actually ripped directly from Sunshine, which is why it looks so awful.
This level, which would put him at a proportionate size to Bowser, or
Oh yeah, by the way, I kind of haven't commented on this, but so this is the first video after Barrel's Reduct where I'm like using this like cool graffiti animated text thing with these custom drawn things. I I guess I can show these. I'll show them at the end of the video. This is a style I've kind of leaned out of using as much nowadays. It takes a lot of time to make these for very little reward, and it stops feeling artistic after, you know, the third time you've done it. So yeah.
Mario is actually meant to be 4 times bigger in this level, which would put him at a proportionate size to Bowser, or, the more likely option, B, at some point in Sunshine's development.
Yeah, so by the way, that right there, that was just like I don't know how to transition this, so I'm just gonna put a character on screen talking because I'm talking.
A proportionate size to Bowser, or, the more likely option, B, at some point in Sunshine's development when the
Dude, that B is so cool. I love that.
Bowser fight was first added, Mario...
All of this just looks so good, man. I love how all of this looks. Like, if you ask like a calligraphy expert, I'm sure they could point out a bunch of flaws and issues with how this looks and stuff, but I love how all of this looks.
Was meant to actually be bigger. So, when Bowser and his hot tub were added, Mario and Bowser were actually proportionate to each other, to actually be bigger.
Also,
so, when Bowser...
I think this text color should have been white. I don't know.
When his hot tub were added, Mario and Bowser were actually proportionate to each other. However, the developers at Nintendo quickly realized that the model for the hot tub would have been too small.
I think a major cinch in this theory is why default to Mario being scaled up, right? I don't know. That just doesn't make sense to me, that aspect. But that's the thing about this theory, is that it's trying to make sense out of something that doesn't, you know? This is our, I think, best explanation. This is the best explanation I've heard of, at least, for why Bowser is big in Super Mario Sunshine.
For Mario to easily navigate. In fact, it probably would have been quite glitchy. So instead of setting Mario's scale to 1 for the level specific...
Oh yeah, that's one of those things. I think I talked about this in the Floor's Lava Creator commentary, like near the beginning. It's one of those things where I'm trying to demonstrate something with footage, but I don't have enough time to really show it. But yeah,
probably.
So you might miss it if you're not paying a lot of attention, but the point here is that Mario just teleports off the edge. It's kind of annoying. It's too small. So obviously the rim here of the I'm pointing with my hand in real life as if you guys can see that. Use my mouse, idiot. The rim of the jail cell here would be the analog for the bathtub outer ring. And you can see like Mario just teleports off of it.
Would have been quite glitchy. So,
although I think that teleportation behavior only happens because there's the ground right there, but still, it probably wouldn't have been fun.
Instead of setting Mario's scale to 1 for the level specifically, like this, the developers hard-coded Mario to always be set to a scale of 1 no matter the level. But now, there was a new problem for the developers. Bowser was way bigger than he's supposed to be. However, since Super Mario Sunshine was a rushed game, the developers decided to put their time into other parts of the game, instead of making a new hot tub that could fit a normal-sized Bowser in it while keeping an...
It's funny I show Petey here. I'm pretty sure Petey was relatively finished, at least like the base like Petey fight was relatively finished pretty early on.
Acceptable experience for the player.
Yeah, so like I was saying, that theory, I don't know. Again, you're not gonna find a lot of sense trying to make sense of something that just doesn't make sense in the first place. Why is Bowser so big, and why is Mario's scale set to 4 in a bunch of levels, including the Bowser level? Yeah, I don't know. This is just the best explanation, but it feels unsatisfying, you know? I don't know.
So, admittedly, there are a few holes in this theory. I do still have some supporting evidence and many theories, though, that really patch up some of those holes. Starting with...
I just, like, didn't have the same
I do still have some supporting evidence and many theories, though, that really patch up some of those holes. Starting with the most obvious flaw in the...
I think this is the first video where I had the freeze all animations Gecko code, or freeze most animations. It freezes a bunch of like the 3D animations in the game. So this is how I'm getting Bowser to just spray fire into the sky because it froze his animation. And I used it a lot here for this, for getting shots of Bowser. Maybe a little too readily I used it, you know? I was a little too giddy about my new toy. What I found on complete accident, by the way. This Gecko code I found on complete accident. When I first started learning how to edit memory and stuff from Sunshine, I just completely on accident found this value. There was no rhyme or reason to how I found it. I just found it and ran with it.
Theory, why would the devs at Nintendo hardcode Mario's scale to never change?
Wait, is this the first Shrugging Mario? I thought the first Shrugging Mario was in the Invisible Barrel episode, but this is the first Shrugging Mario. Oh my gosh. The Angry Max historians are gonna have a field day with this one. Who those historians are, I don't know, but they're gonna have a field day with this one.
instead of just setting his scale to 1 in the Bowser stage? Well, while I don't know for sure why they would, I have an educated guess. Do you remember the part of the video where I said that there are other levels in the game where Mario's scale is set to 4 instead of the more common 1 for each axis? Well, even though at first this may seem like a counterpoint to my theory, since hardcoding Mario's scale to 1 because of the hot tub size would mean more development time to go back and fix all the levels where Mario's scale is set to 4, I would actually propose that any level that has a scale of 4
Yeah, so I'll let this play out, but I didn't explain this very well.
instead of 1 for Mario was copied from the final fight before being worked on. What I'm saying is that since the Bowser fight takes place in the sky and is made of all objects and no level geometry, it could make sense that this level was used as a baseline for other sky levels. If you're not getting what I'm saying, that's okay. I can show you. When we open up the level file for the Bowser fight, you can see that we come in here and just start deleting stuff like Bowser, Bowser Jr., Peach, even the hot tub itself. Then we can fairly quickly come in and start adding in some objects like this platform from
I'm actually so sure this is why Mario's scale is set to 4 in so many sky levels. I don't know if this level was the first level where Mario's scale was set to 4, the Bowser level. Because, okay, think about this, right? The most important things for Nintendo to have an idea of how this game plays is the beginning, the general levels, and the end, right? This level started development probably pretty early on. And so if Mario had a scale of 4 for some reason in the early on Bowser fights, which take place in the sky. And then later on they decided, oh wait, we need more like bonus levels and stuff because we need to hit 120 shines for some reason because 64 had 120 stars. So they quickly started making new sky levels. And so they probably just copy and pasted like how I'm showing in the video. I guess that's why Mario's scale set to 4 arbitrarily in a bunch of these different levels, even though it doesn't do anything.
Mario to spawn onto.
Very
If we
strange.
really wanted to, we could change the sky texture and we could then rename the folder in Viola. It's a whole new level. And what further supports this is that any level where Mario's scale is set to 4 is an open level that takes place in the sky, just like the Bowser fight. And there really is no practical reason for Mario.
Furthermore, the skyboxes are very similar between all the stages. Here, wait, so Slide, Pachinko, Red Coin Grass, Poison River, Sandbird, and Bottle, all of these levels listed here have the same skybox, except for the Bowser fight. But the Bowser fight in all these levels all have a very similar skybox. It's just the Bowser fight one is like at night, maybe in space. I find that actually particularly interesting. That really strengthens the connection here.
That takes place in the sky, just like the Bowser fight, and there really is no practical reason for Mario's scale to be set to 4 for any of these levels. Unlike the Bowser fight, where it makes sense that Mario's scale could have originally been 4 so that he was proportionate with Bowser before being changed. Additionally,
Okay, so something I wanted to explain earlier. To me, it doesn't make sense that during the development, Mario's scale was originally 4 for the Bowser fight. Because for one, that's just like, why? But two, why would the solution to that be to hardcode his scale to 1? Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about this more. Maybe it is because all the levels, or all the sky levels are based off of the Bowser level, and the developers who were working on those levels probably didn't like catch that they were copying a scale of 4 for Mario. And instead of somebody being like, okay, we have to look through every level to make sure Mario's scale is set to 1, they're just like, you know what, we'll just hardcode it to make it so Mario's scale is always 1. Because if you've messed with mods that change Mario's scale at all, ever, Mario's scale, like going above 1, gets really weird. Granted, that's technically his model scale, which might be a different thing than actually changing his real scale. I'm not entirely sure how that would work, if there is a difference or a meaningful difference. Yeah, I don't know. Just the more I think about it, the more it confuses me. Just very weird situation.
with most of these stages that have Mario's scale set to 4, it's very likely they were added late into development, which would again support that they were copied from them.
Oh, yeah.
It's very likely they were added late into development.
Very proud of this image right here. Yeah, there it is. I called it as if it were never there. ... You can, when you look very closely, you can see like repeating textures because it's just clone stamped. But yeah, it ended up looking very good in the video, especially because YouTube compression kind of smooths it out. Overall, this looked very good at it. I'm proud of that.
Development, which would again support that they were copied from the Bowser fight, which probably was finished or close to finished much earlier in development.
That shot lingers for way too long, and it also has an error in it.
And if you're wondering what I'm basing this on, let me briefly explain. Nintendo's goal with Super Mario Sunshine was likely to make everything that the player 100% had to experience to beat the game would be as polished as possible.
I think,
However,
I guess this was the epilepsy warning.
Things that aren't required to beat the game, such as any of the secret levels in Delfino Plaza, weren't given nearly
Oh, this is the epilepsy warning. Okay.
as much development time. That's why the Pachinko
Oh, that's the thing to keep in mind. Cutting that bit out of the video changes the timestamp of the epilepsy warning. Speaking of very interesting, this shot right here. Oh yeah, this shot
beat
right
the game would be as
are,
polished as possible. However,
This shot right here was like an OBS thing. I forget exactly what I did, but I did something in OBS where I can actually show you. So this is what it originally was. I think I was gonna originally put text here that says like the damned pachinko machine, but then I ended up just with this circle. And it's just like a mask that went over the gameplay. And so if you imagine this image layered over like the video of the pachinko machine, the parts that are black would be the parts that get changed. I don't really do edits like this. I was in a bit of an experimental phase here, trying to do a bit more like the type of edits you might see in a video doc.
things that aren't required to beat the game, such as any of the secret levels in Delfino Plaza, weren't given nearly as much development time. That's why the Pachinko
So this right here, this is a really cool edit. So there's a couple things going on here. First of all, let's see, I put in motion graphics, I think. Yeah, so this yellow arrow, this is just like this image. We can pull it up here, make it bigger. That's just this image, like this chevron. And then with text layered over it, obviously that was layered over in the editing software. This right here, this took me a long time to make. What this is actually a Blender animation right here. I definitely would not have been able to do this in Adobe Premiere Rush. I don't know, I probably used OBS to layer this in. I don't exactly know what I did here to get this into Adobe Premiere Rush looking this good, but I don't think I even have the Blender animation anymore. Let me just do a quick look. Yeah, I'm doing a quick look around. I don't think I have that anymore. A little unfortunate, but that's fine. It happens. But yeah, it was I learned Blender for this. This is when I was first learning Blender. I know a lot more about Blender now because of using it for videos and using it for modding Sunshine. And then Luigi here was also pretty interesting because he was split into two things. Let me explain. I did not have an ISO of Luigi's Mansion, but I wanted to get, I had the vision for the shot in my head. So in order to get this Luigi, I recorded it myself. I had to first boot up Luigi's Mansion in Dolph, but again, I didn't have an ISO. I didn't want to pirate it because I had, well, first of all, piracy is illegal, but I had also just recently homebrewed my Wii and learned how to rip discs using homebrew, and I have a copy of Luigi's Mansion in real life. So I decided I'm gonna rip the disc myself. I went through the whole process of ripping your own disc, got Luigi's Mansion into an ISO format. It's still the one I have somewhere here at the top. Now I had to figure out how to actually record Luigi. So I had to boot up the game. I wonder if this is still the same save. So I had to take Luigi up here, actually play through a bit of the game, went through this room, didn't think this was a good room for what I wanted to do. I was looking for a flat wall, found this room and thought this will be good enough. So then what I did is I made a custom dolphin texture pack, which I'll save you all the details of how that works. Load custom textures, got everything to be black. And then I don't remember what part of the room I did this in. Probably this part. I first got a recording like this of just the like vacuum particles, or my best to get just the vacuum particles. I had to keep Luigi in. And then I moved Luigi over and got a recording of him vacuuming as well. By the way, I should explain the reason why it's in front of a black background is for the particles to look good here. Because green screening see-through particles actually looks awful. So that's how I got Luigi. That's how I got the vacuum. I had to rip the disc, make a custom texture pack, play through a little bit of the game. Not a whole lot, obviously. Figured out I wanted to record the particles separately from Luigi, then like scale it in the editing software. And then I got my shot. Place everything in place, and this is the shot. It looks decent, to be fair, but it's what, 5 seconds? Let's see, 5:35. Basically 5 seconds, but not really even. Yeah, that was probably the densest 5 seconds of video I've ever done, like in terms of work. I'd say the only thing that comes close is in one of the Road to 119 videos, the Cooking with Angry Max segment. There was one clip that required a lot of manual masking frame to frame, which if that's just buzzwords to you, don't worry. That just means it's very tedious. And then I ended up cutting a big part of that anyways. So yeah, there's the lore on that shot right there.
I just listed have Mario scale set to 4.
Oh yeah, funny fade here because I didn't have enough video here.
And once you
I ended the video recording too early. When it fades out, it actually just pauses on the last frame.
You know it, each of those levels I just listed have Mario's scale set to 4. If you're still not convinced about my theory, let me...
Oh yeah, by the way, you might have noticed the bathtub water looks weird in some shots. That's because I'm viewing it in free cam and it looks weird. I can just show you in game. We're here, why not? Bum 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 bum. Unfortunately, there's on a way to just go to the Bowser fight, so we have to play through Corona Mountain to actually get to Bowser. While I'm doing this, I just want to say, Road to 119, it's gonna end early 2025, I think. Maybe late 2024. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, but I think I should really start focusing on finishing older stuff. I guess we're going this way. I wasn't paying enough attention to the speedboat. I think that would have been good. This isn't going to be good. Yeah. Dang it. Yeah, so I've had an idea for Road to 119, like the last episode, how it's going to be structured for such a long time, or like very loose ideas, I guess I should say, especially how it will end. And I want to just finally act on that, which means I need to get freaking good. I think I have it in me though. Honestly, if I gave it like my true 100%, I think I could get a 119 in just like a week of practicing. I think I'm there, honestly. There we go. Okay, we're finally here. Can I pause it? Yeah, I can pause the animation. So you can actually see exactly how I do this. Animation was paused. And then, yeah, so as you see, when I go into free cam, the water starts getting really weird. I think it's because the water, like performance, like a performance hog, if that makes sense. Like it takes a lot of processing power / GPU power off the GameCube. And so I think there were a lot of like weird and aggressive like culling techniques they had to use to get it to work. So I think that's why it looks so weird in free cam, because you're not meant to see it from this perspective. It's because it's like a projected view from Mario, you know? Very interesting. Anyways, anyone else tired of going on mile-long tangents? Let's finish the video out.
You with 3 more small things that, in my opinion, go a long way towards suggesting that Bowser was meant to be smaller. For one, Peach is also set to a scale of 4 in the Bowser fight, where she, just like Mario, is normally set to a scale of 1 in every other level. The only difference with her, though, is that
it is a different Peach model as well.
She actually appears to be larger than normal, oddly enough. Next, if we take Bowser...
Yeah, you don't really notice it usually, but Peach definitely is larger here for some reason.
Is that she actually appears...
I don't think she's 4 times bigger though. Maybe she is. Maybe she is. I don't know. It's actually kind of hard to tell.
To be larger than normal, oddly enough. Next, if we take Bowser's model, attach it onto another object, then scale it down to 1/4 of its normal size, then we can see that Bowser and Mario are approximately proportionate to the sizes.
Yeah, so this is, honestly for me, this is the biggest supporting piece of evidence out of this entire video, is that when Bowser is shrunken down to 1/4 of his normal size, which would be the equivalent of Mario being 4 times his normal size, he's like proportionate to Mario. This is how big Bowser usually is in proportion to Mario.
You'd expect them to be. And please excuse Bowser's eyes.
I was still new to Blender, so I had no idea about UV mapping and stuff like that, so I didn't know how to fix this.
And adjacent to that, if we scale down the hot tub...
Oh yeah, this hot tub right here, by the way, I couldn't get the collision working because the bathtub's collision model is just really weird and different from anything else in the game. That's what's going on here. I couldn't get the collision to work, so I just had to import the model and then walk on this to kind of show Mario's scale in proportion to the bathtub. Nowadays, I probably could get a collision working for this because it's pretty trivial, honestly, but to 1/4 of its respective size, we can totally see that'd be a nightmare to traverse. And finally, for the last piece of evidence, which is arguably the strongest, in the cutscenes following Bowser's defeat, you can see that yeah, I guess this is arguably the strongest piece of evidence as well, that Bowser is all of a sudden back to normal size.
No longer giant, with no explanation as to why or how. I mean, even the hot tub seems to be a hell of a lot smaller than it was during the fight.
I wish I would have shown that a bit better. The hot tub seems smaller. It could also, it's kind of cut off screen, so it could just be a lot more underwater than you would think. I don't know.
How? I mean, even the hot tub seems to be a hell of a lot smaller than it was during the fight. In my opinion, that puts the final nail
SM64 coffin, by the way.
In the coffin. Bowser was originally meant to be normal size.
That's a barrel, by the way, that I swapped the animations with. That's what's going on in this shot.
But due to Sunshine's rushed production cycle, he ended up being a big boy. God, I hate myself for saying that.
Okay, and then of course, same thing as I said in the intro, outros don't make a lot of sense in the YouTube landscape anymore. And they didn't at the time of making this video, to be clear.
And this is going to be about it for the first installment for the SMS Experiments mini-series. And if you're wondering why I decided to make this a quote-unquote mini episode, it really has to do more with the content versus the length of the video. While this video had a lot of technical stuff going on in it, like an average episode of SMS Experiments would, it really wasn't that experimental, if that makes sense. I've never really heard any
overthinking it, just way overthinking it.
Theories as to why Bowser is a giant in Super Mario Sunshine, so I'm actually pretty excited to share this theory. If any of you guys have anything to add on or maybe points of contention with this theory, be sure to leave me a comment. Not only does it help me out a ton, but I'm also genuinely interested and curious to see what people think about this. And speaking of support, be sure to like, comment, and especially subscribe and hit the bell if you're interested in more Super Mario Sunshine content. Not only do I already have a few videos about Sunshine on this channel, check out this video if you want something quality, but
What video was that? Oh, see, YouTube reorganized the iCard and it just messes me up every time. It scrolls you down and you're supposed to look at the bottom of the screen. What? And I'm actually covering it, but yeah, it's the part of the screen I'm covering is it scrolled me down to. What? Hello? You're just showing me the description. That's not... Is it just me, or is that just not how scrolling works? Like when you click a link on a website and it scrolls you to a different part, the part you're looking for is always scrolled at the top. It would be like this normally, right? Like that's how it always works. But for some reason it's like this. Why? Why does YouTube keep reworking features to be worse on this stupid website?
actually have a whole lot more planned. In fact, in the next week or two, be expecting a new Sunshine video to drop.
No one cares. Everyone clicked off already. Okay, wait, let's go back and look at the retention again. Here's the retention. Yeah, okay. So outro starts at 658. This massive drop off, yeah. Here it is. You can so see the massive drop off here. Like, it's not even funny. I guess I didn't explain this graph earlier, but this is just like the amount of people still watching. This is such a good retention line until this point where I decided to spend 20 years explaining things that nobody cares about.
A challenge run that's pretty unique, so I'm excited to get that out. Apart from that, I also have some cool SMS modding stuff planned for the future, so yeah, be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out. Anyways, I've got to do some more editing, so I've been Angry Max, and later.
But that's a baller ending though. Anyways, I've got to do some more editing. I've been Angry Max, and later. Probably how I'm gonna end this video because I immediately am gonna have an hour-long thing to edit. That is first-hand experience, or first-hand me showing you why you don't do intros and outros, because you have graphs that look like this, where there's huge drop-offs at the beginning and the end, because you're just like playing a part of the video that nobody cares about. That's just unfortunately how it is on YouTube. If you actually want to get caught in the algorithm, you do have to think about these things, unfortunately. So that's the video. What are my thoughts on it? I think I could have explained myself a bit better. Some of my ideas and stuff. The editing could have been a bit better. I guess I was still using Adobe Premiere Rush, but DaVinci Resolve has always been free. So yeah, overall, I'll give this video like a B-. I should start grading all the videos. Maybe I'll make a tier list at some point. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the thumbnail. But first, notification check. Vinesauce and Buck Wheaton. Awesome. Okay. So this thumbnail actually went through a revision. The original thumbnail looked like, I think it was this. Some things might have been moved around, but the original thumbnail I think more or less looked like this, which is ugly and it looks bad. And there's that color variation. I don't know. It's just a bad thumbnail. Oh. It was like this. Why is Bowser so big? And then I think I just didn't have an arrow, maybe. Yeah, I think this is what the original thumbnail looked like. And obviously this isn't Mario Sunshine Bowser. When I revised the first couple of thumbnails, this is around the time I was realizing that I don't need to put the Super Mario Sunshine logo in every video. Because, well, first of all, it's in the title, but some of the imagery of the game, like you can kind of tell this is Mario Sunshine Mario. I don't know if every half casual Mario fan would necessarily immediately tell this is Mario Sunshine Mario, but it looks GameCube era to me. So yeah, this is what the thumbnail became, obviously. A bit more eye grabbing, a bit more contrast on the why. And actually, I think when I changed the thumbnail was around the time the views on this video started picking up a bit more. So there's that. But yeah, nothing super interesting here. The only thing I'd say mildly interesting about the composition here, besides the weird purple outline, is how I actually used the skybox here. The skybox, I purposefully positioned it like this, and you can actually see, because I ran out of space, I edited in like extra skybox over here on the right, like just copied and pasted a bit of extra, which you don't see when Bowser's in front of it. You don't see how crappy that actually is. I think I did the composition like that specifically to put a bit more focus and contrast on like the darkest part of the skies where the big colorful text is. Overall, not that interesting of a thumbnail. They never really are. Oops, dropped my controller. But I still like to go over it just for posterity's sake. And yeah, that is basically everything I have to show, I think. Yo, turns out I forgot to actually record this part of the video where I show off the raw assets like I promised I would. I'm pretty sure I showed this file in the Barrels Redux creator commentary, but I don't know if I actually went over like the theory stuff on the bottom. You can see some of the failed attempts at making the word theory. Looks really bad. And you can see this strike here that I don't know where I used this. I genuinely don't know where I used this. I'm pretty sure this H came from here. Like that was the only good looking part of this theory up here. So yeah, here's the A and B, the awesome looking B. I love how much, I love so much how that looks. It's just so good. Anyways, enough rambling. Back to the outro. I think that is going to be the video. And as such, it's time for the thumbnail pose. I feel like doing like upper face is better than lower face. You know, I don't put my face in thumbnails a lot, so I don't really know the science here. And for member only videos, it doesn't matter as much because you guys who are watching are probably already sold on my content and don't need like Mr. Beast faces, like, you know. Oh god, should I do that? Wait, should I do that for this thumbnail? A Mr. Beast face? Okay. Okay, well, I regret that. Anyways, I've been Angry Max. I've got more editing to do. Another member video will be out probably next week. Our creator commentary, the Floor is Lava one. Probably next week, hopefully. Goodbye, and good night to all you beautiful people.